We already spoke before how important each word that we pronounce and how they make tremendous impact on the world around us and for us and for our friends, whatever happened. It's as powerful as the actions that we do many times. We learned recently in Parsha Vayetze that tells us about how Lavan, Yaakov's father-in-law, was pursuing him, and he finally caught up with him. And when he caught up with him, at the end of their interaction, Lavan says, "Please, let's make a neder. Let's make a shvuah or neder, which in Ivrit means make an oath, make a commitment for some sort." And also they invoked the name of God when they were doing it. So it says here, Yaakov took a stone and raised it as a monument. And Yaakov said to his brethren, "Gather stones." So they took stones and made a mound, and they ate there on the mount. And Lavan called it Yegar Saradutha, but Yaakov called it Galit. And Lavan declared, "This mount is a witness between me and you today." Therefore they called it name Galit. And is it for mitzvah? Because he said, "May Hashem keep watch between me and you when we are out of each other's sight. If you will mistreat, ill-treat my daughters, or if you will marry wives in addition to my daughters, through no man may be among us, but see, God is our witness." That's Lavan is talking, the most righteous man that we know, huh? "God is a witness between me and you." And Lavan said to Yaakov, "Here's this mount, and here's a monument which I have cast between me and you. This mount shall be witness, and the monument shall be witness, that I may not cross over to you past this mount, nor may you cross over to me past this mount and this monument for evil. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor judge between us, the God of their father." And Yaakov swore by the dread of his father Yitzchak. And they slaughtered for feast on the mountain, and summoned his kinsmen for break bread. And they broke bread and spent the night on the mountain. So, review what happened. They made a swear to each other, and they pulled some stones, put them together, made a mount. Later on, when we see the story that happening when the Jewish people are going back to Eretz Israel after they've been enslaved in Egypt, and they traveling on the way back, then the king of Bilham, Balak, hires Bilham, the very famous and very powerful wizard, to curse Jewish people. And he goes on his way, regardless of Hashem trying to stop him, and he wants to curse them. And it says here in Parsha Bamidbar, Numbers, 22:30, when Lavan is traveling on his donkey, and something happened. Hashem wrath flared because of what he was going, and the angel of Hashem stood on the road to impede him. He was riding on his she-donkey, and his two young men were with him. And the she-donkey saw the angel of Hashem standing on the road with his sword drawn in his hand. So she-donkey turned away from the road and went into the field. Then Balaam struck that she-donkey and turned it back to the road, and the angel of God stood in the path of the vineyards, and a fence on the side, and a fence on that side. And she-donkey saw an angel of Hashem and pressed against the wall, and it pressed Balaam's leg against the wall, and he continued to strike it. The angel of Hashem went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn right or left. Then she-donkey saw an angel of Hashem and crouched beneath Balaam. Balaam's anger flared, and he struck the she-donkey with the staff. And now, lo and behold, Hashem opened the mouth of she-donkey, and it says to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you struck me these 3 times?" There's a commentators here, Rashi, that says that 3 times that the angel blocked the she-donkey symbolized 3 patriarchs: Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Midrash Tanhuma elaborates that it was as if a different patriarch did the blocking each time. The first time, the angel prevented him from moving ahead, but he could not have done it to the right. Still continue, was able to go. And that symbolizes Abraham, because Balaam could curse Abraham's progeny that had drifted to the right or left, meaning Ishmael, descendant of Ishmael or Keturah. Then, the next time, the she-donkey only a narrow space to avoid the sword, and that alluding to Yitzchak, because he only had one unworthy son, Asaph. But the third time, there was no room at all for she-donkey to move, symbolizing the offspring of Yaakov, of whom all were righteous, and whom Balaam could not curse. There's another secret here, because our elders teach us what was this fence that Balaam's foot was scratched by the she-donkey, speaking she-donkey, and say that was the same mount that long time ago Lavan and Yaakov put together as stones, because they say that Bilham was a descendant of Balaam, of Lavan, and there's an opinion it's the same guy. He just lived very, very, very long. But we see here the power of the oath, and how Hashem watching every word that we say and every action we do. And we have this whole book, it's called Talmud Nidorim, which teaches us how careful we're supposed to be with our mouth, what we say, and how it can change the reality. And here, 7 generations later, even more, it stands and it protects the Jewish people from a curse. And it says later on how only after all these generations they were able to basically, the oath expired. Because we know another oath, when Avimelech, the king of Plishtim, made the treaty with Yitzchak, and all these 7 generations, I think that's where the number 7 coming from, Jews were now able to fight with them, even though Plishtim were harassing them, that we were following the commitment that our forefather made not to make any trouble to Plishtim. And only Shimshon Hagibar, Samson, it happened after 7 generations, who were able to fight wars with them. And same with King David. He was able to overcome Plishtim because Plishtim violated the oath, and basically that was enabled them to do.